Welcome back, y'all. We're going to be doing 4.5. It is a quiz with 15 questions this time. I'll try to be quick through it, but I also have to touch through stuff if I need to. Excuse me. Okay. Number one, what do biometrics use to perform authentication of identity? Special traits each person has. Bio meaning of life, and then metrics meaning to measure. It's measuring your life, measuring your biology, basically. Now, fingerprints are unique to each and every person. Now, whether or not they are captured in full uniqueness, let's say if someone had a similar one, would it deny it or would it pass it? That is out of my knowledge, and it really is going to vary from device to device. Now, Face ID is Face ID is one of those ones that people forget because they don't know how it works. They trust it a little bit too much. One, Face ID is based off of your bone structure more than anything. What it does is it projects a grid of infrared light, and it's like just a bunch of dots in a grid. And depending on the amount of space between each grid, right? Because if it's on a flat surface, it's perfectly spaced. But, let's say one dot is on your nose, the dot to its right is going to be a little bit lower, right? And the distance between those two, what it reads back, is the amount of depth change. So ultimately, somebody with a very similar face structure can unlock your phone, or they can honestly sculpt a something of you and try to get it accurately. Like, I know this is anecdotal, but my mom can unlock my sister's phone. I mean, they look similar, but they're not twins. So keep that in mind. Also, I have my Face ID turned off because if somebody were to arrest me, they can, in the United States, they can legally just unlock my phone by holding it up to my face. Same thing with fingerprint. They can legally just put your hand up to that phone and unlock it. I have all of that disabled, and mine is password only. What can happen if security tools are used incorrectly? They can create more weaknesses, right? If you are not following regulations at a job site like OSHA, you are gonna be creating more dangerous activities. You're gonna make more opportunities where someone gets hurt. It's the same thing with security. If you're not using the tools correctly, you're gonna create more opportunities for attack. Which type of antivirus software protects many computers and is managed from a central server? Probably a network security suite. A network security suite. I'm going to go ahead and check this later. What is social engineering? Or actually, let me come back. The reason why I check this is personal kind of implies home office, maybe something like that. Network security kind of implies more of an industrial sense of multiple computers and from a central server. What is social engineering? A method of deceiving others to share personal or sensitive information. If I can, kind of befriend you, or at least like make you drop your guard and ask you, do you have any pets? What was your first pet's name? Where did you go to elementary school? What hospital were you born in? Or like what state were you born in? Those are all security questions, which are a form of social engineering to ask. So just be careful. Where are hardware firewalls typically installed? And that is at the edge of the network. Just like a water filter for your house, why would you install it only before the shower? Why would you install it only before a faucet? You would probably want it before your water heater. And by the way, if you don't have filtered water, which we don't at our house, unfortunately, your water heater needs to be cleaned like every year, every 2 years at least, every 5 years. Otherwise, it's just building up a bunch of gunk in your water heater that cannot be cleaned. Maybe can be cut open, scraped out, and welded back up if you're handy. Yeah. What is a virus in the context of computer malware? It needs user action to spread. Typically in exe, you have to open it, it runs, and because it's an exe, you gave it permission, and it runs and does whatever it wants at that point. Which of the following is a potential security concern of single sign-on? Remember, when you have questions like these, it is always, one of these is not like the other, users having to remember multiple passwords. That is not true with single sign-on. Single sign-on is you sign into one thing. Like I sign into my Motlow account, and I'm able to access my D2L, my Motlow, which is like registration and stuff. I'm able to access my Word, all that stuff. It is more expensive to implement. That's not a security concern. And it is if a hacker gets into one account, they could access everything. It is not slower to log in. But yes, if they get into one account, they can access everything. But also, kind of on the flip side, they really only have to manage, like your IT admins only have to manage that one account as well. What is the primary goal of the protect function in the NIST cybersecurity framework? To identify risks and threats. I'm going to go ahead and review this later. What is accounting in the context of computer systems? It is documenting user actions on the computer system. What is the main reason for testing patches before deploying them? To ensure they do not cause problems, please, please, please test your patches before you deploy them. Test your solutions before you deploy them. Same thing with like, it's not even just cybersecurity. If you fix something on your car, you need to test drive it before you just go, okay, tomorrow I'll drive 50 miles to work at 80 miles an hour after replacing your tire, because it might not have just been the tire. What is spear phishing? It's a type of phishing that targets specific individuals. Typically, these individuals are a little more wealthy or have a little more value to target, or they are a little more gullible. Number 12, Jamie noticed that his computer and several others in his school's computer lab started running very slowly and displaying strange messages at the same time. What type of malware is most likely responsible for this? And I remember getting this wrong in an other video. And the answer is worm, and that is because it is showing over several other computers in the computer lab, which, if we remember, the worm is meant to spread malware. Which function of the NIST cybersecurity framework involves restoring systems and data? It's probably recover if we're restoring stuff. What type of firewall is typically used to protect a single workstation or server? A single is probably one of these. Probably a software firewall, network firewall. Probably a software firewall. We'll go ahead and review that, because it says workstation or server, and I know that most servers run Nginx, which has its own built-in firewall. 1 second. Why should you be careful with friend requests on social media? Because they could be fake profiles created by hackers. I've told a story about this. That absolutely does happen. Ooh, and I missed one, and it was number 8. Okay, the primary goal of the protect function of the NIST cybersecurity framework is to develop and operate IT assets securely. Okay. Yeah, because identifying risks and threats, I guess, doesn't technically protect anything. But developing and operating assets securely does protect things. All right. Thank you, guys. I will see y'all in the next video. Be sure to put the correct answer.